Oh, hey, hi everyone. So this is actually our third Zoom webinar, now a YouTube webinar on college essays. Now these are going to form a really big part of your college applications journey. So we're just going to break down everything for you as much as we can. Now before we begin, we again want to kind of introduce ourselves to you. We have two members present from here in addition to me. So I'm Shuvi and I'm going to Stanford University to study human biology and communications on a pre-med track.
I'm Emily, and I'm going to UC San Diego to study molecular biology.
I'm Iris, and I'm also going to Stanford to study Earth systems and computer science.
Yep. And along with the other people that you saw on that screen there, we are Edits for Good. And what we do is we help rising seniors in every stage of their college applications for small fees or donations to the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Funds in order to support Black Lives Matter and racial equality. We will literally help you with everything, including art portfolios and recently even resumes. So feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to help you. And so far we've helped 15 people with various different services, and these are some of the testimonies that we got. As you can see, they seem pretty happy, so we're really grateful for that. And hopefully, you can sign up for our services, and then we can work with you one-on-one. And our agenda for today, again, like I said, it's all about essays. So we're just going to walk you through the most important types of essays and how to get started. So that begins with brainstorming, then the Common App, UC prompts, and the why this college essay. Follow the Q&A session. Obviously, we can't really have it like in person live right now, but you can write your questions down in the comments or just email us, and we'd be happy to help you out. And so the first thing, like I mentioned, is brainstorming ideas. And Emily will take it from here.
Yeah, so our first strategy is when you're on your laptop, sometimes it can be pretty daunting to just sit in front of like a blank document, and also very distracting that you can access basically any part of the internet. So we encourage you to, go the traditional route, maybe get a whiteboard or a pen and paper notebook, and just think about like your high school career and just like your life experiences thus far. Just do a little bit of self-reflection. So like what makes you happy, or what triggers, it doesn't have to be happiness, but like what triggers a very specific emotion within you that you could like, that's still memorable to this day. What was the hardest decision you've ever had to make, your proudest moments, biggest regrets, who have you looked up to, has been a role model in your life, and what did they teach you? What do you feel passionate about? What do you want to change about the world? And you can take like the traditional like, oh, I want to change blah blah, but it can also be a very humorous thing. Like you can want to change the smallest thing, and if it's meaningful to you, then it's valid. And then what could you spend hours doing? What makes you feel at peace? What's your life philosophy? What's one piece of advice you'd give to people? And it's beyond just like, oh, giving somebody advice. It's like, how did you accumulate that advice, and why is it so important to you, / why did you decide to apply that to your life? And then what moments and experiences have made you the person that you are today? Even though that sounds like really daunting, there's definitely things that stick in your brain more than others, and those are things that you just kind of have to be more aware about as you're brainstorming these ideas. And then so our second strategy is to just think about the things that you do in your life, your extracurriculars, your classes, and how have they impacted you. It's just like if you were to, talk to someone new and you wanted to get to know them and you wanted them to get to know you, you'd probably talk about the things that you do. So it's pretty much the same thing. Your AO wants to know more about you. And so like, what have you learned or gained from your activities? Why did you start the activity in the first place? And then like, if you kept going with it, what made you keep going? Was it the same reason? Did it change? That could be very interesting to talk about. What has it taught about you, and like what are you planning to do with that in the future, because colleges really like to see that you're going to continue to act upon like your interests and to build upon like things that you've already created. And then did you have any mentors, and why did you look up to them? What did they teach you? This could be anyone from like a coach in a sport to like your research professor, or just like maybe a classmate who really stuck out to you or taught you something about yourself. And then what was your favorite, happiest, saddest, angriest memory in this activity? Again, just sticking to like the emotional aspect of things can really help drive, pathos part of your essay, but also like just help you be more excited about writing about yourself.
And strategy 3 is to kind of stop thinking about all this on your own and like recognize that there are other people around you, probably your close friends, your family, who also know you really well, right? And so they're the first people that you should talk to about your essays rather than just like self-reflecting. What you can do is have a conversation with them, like literally about anything. Some things you can talk about is the news, like what's going on in the world. Is there a way that this says something about you as a person and as an applicant? What are some memories that you have together? What do they think makes you tick? Like what do they believe are like the most striking qualities about you, right? Like they know you super well, so learn about yourself from the point of view of others and see how you can kind of glean that knowledge and apply it to your essays. Now, this is an example of like my brainstorming list. So I took the traditional route, strategy 1, where one day I was like, you know what, I just need to get this done. So I sat down on my desk and I had like this little notebook that I just had to like jot ideas down for. And then I just kind of thought about my high school career, everything from 9th grade to 12th or 11th grade, along with some significant life moments that came prior or like during, not really relating to school. And I just jotted them down. And the first bullet point here actually turned out to become my Common App essay. And it was a really important essay to me. And I think it came out pretty well. And it's because instead of just like writing down like a simple thing, what I did is I tried to also include a sentence or a couple of phrases to make sure that that my idea would reveal something about me. And if on paper I can see it coming, like kind of like a vision, if I can see it happening on paper in my brainstorming process, it's a lot easier to write essays based off of that. So another thing is I feel like a lot of people get stuck on like picking a topic to write about, and they're like trying really hard to pick a topic that's super unique and stuff. I feel like if it doesn't come naturally to you, like that's maybe an issue. Maybe you're like picking at things that aren't really there. Obviously you want to think about everything deeply, but there's a difference between doing really good self-reflection versus just like trying to look for something that's like salacious or like sensationalist.
How does Edits for Good help you with your brainstorming process? So some people say that the college app process is a bit dehumanizing because you're essentially putting who you are into like 650 words on Common App, something like that. But with Edits for Good, we really try to talk to you and understand you as a person. So we're going to sit down with you and have a real conversation about yourself, about your family, about your experiences, what kind of things you want to show in your college application. We're also going to tell you a bit about our own approach to essays and show you some examples. And again, we just brainstorm with you. So we use your own ideas and also our take, and we're going to together generate a list of essay ideas.
And then from here, we have how to actually begin writing your essays. And one of the biggest things that you're going to have to write is your Common App personal statement.
Yeah, so over here we just have the 2020-2021 Common App prompts, and you can take a quick look through them. These are all meant to be somewhat thought-provoking, but also not necessarily followed all the way through. So the Common App is really supposed to be about you, not necessarily completely tailored to one of these essay prompts. And there's also another one at the end that's just write an essay of any topic that you want. And then also with this year, there is going to be an optional, I believe, 250-word prompt about your circumstances during the COVID pandemic. And this is, of course, completely optional as part of the additional information section.
So there's definitely a few common mistakes that you can make when you're writing your essays. And so we kind of want to share that with you so you can look out for them and just kind of be preventative about it. So first of all, make sure that you're answering the prompt. And this might seem like a little bit intuitive, but it's actually surprising how caught up you can get in the memory that you're sharing or the feelings that you're trying to express. And you just completely like overlook the question in itself. But that shows a little bit of aloofness on your part. And the AOs do pick up on that. So please do answer the prompt as one of your first priorities. And then second is not sharing something about yourself. Now is not the time to be overly humble or to try to like withhold something about yourself. This is for you it's your platform to express yourself, and your AOs are really just trying to glean more information about you. So please do share all the things that you think create your own persona, I suppose, or your brand. And then 3 is tackling too much of your life. So especially with the shorter supplementals and the personal insight questions, those are like 200 to 400 word limit essays. It can be really easy to share way too much about your life and then have no room for elaboration or for self-reflection, and that can be very hard to fix afterwards. So just think a little bit more about what specifically you want to tackle so that you don't try to overwhelm yourself with too much information. And then 4 is trying to make too many points. So rather than this point, rather than focusing on too many experiences, it's more like don't try to tackle too many big ideas. Your essay should be cohesive, well-rounded, and like pinpoint a certain lesson, I suppose, like a moral. And if you have too many incomplete ones, it can just seem really scattered and not well prepared. So be wary of that. And then 5 is not going deep enough. So again, this kind of ties into tackling too much at once. But if you only list things and you're kind of repetitive with your experiences, you won't be able to talk so much about your own character. But above all, the AO wants to know what you can contribute to their environment and how you can bring sort of dynamic to their campus. So they really want to know more about you. And then 6 is failing the thumb test. So the thumb test is basically where if you take your essay and you take your name out of it and then someone else reads your essay, would they be able to know that it came from you? And if the answer is no, then you have failed the thumb test. And that's a little bit of a red flag because then it shows that your essay isn't very unique to you or indicative of your personality. So you might want to rethink how you're approaching it.